In dynamic model, we know that both QS, that is quantity supplied and quantity demanded, they both depend upon the current prices alone. Okay, that is, we know that QS and QD, they both depend on the current prices. That is, if the price of the good changes now, it will have an impact on the supply of the good and of course on the demand of the good. But in real life, what happens is that it may also happen that buyers and sellers are basing their market behavior, that is the supply behavior or the demand behavior, on the price trends prevailing at that time in addition to the current prices. That is, क्या होता है कि रियल लाइफ में जो बायर्स है, दैट इज़ जो डिमांड को इफेक्ट करते हैं, और जो सप्लायर्स है, सेलर्स है, जो सप्लाई की साइड से मार्केट में अपना रोल प्ले करते हैं, वो क्या करते हैं, दे कैन ऑल्सो बेस देयर मार्केट बिहेवियर ऑन द प्राइस ट्रेंड्स दैट वर प्रिवेलिंग इन द पास्ट, ठीक है, in addition to the current prices. On the basis of such price trends, what happens is that the people, that is both buyers and sellers, they start developing their expectations regarding price level in the future. Okay, when we foresee that the prices may increase in the future of a good, that is, or a commodity that is a necessity, what we do is that we start buying that good in more in quantity, ठीक है ना, at this particular time period. So therefore क्या हो रहा है कि, और अगर सप्लायर देखे कि उसकी गुड की डिमांड फ्यूचर में ज़्यादा हो सकती है, तो ही स्टार्ट्स टू प्रोड्यूस दैट गुड in higher quantities. And on the contrary, what happens is that if he feels that the good will not have demand in future, तो फिर क्या होगा कि वो ऐसी एक्सपेक्टेशन बनाएगा कि ज़्यादा उस गुड की सप्लाई फ्यूचर में नहीं करेगा in order to avoid the losses. So therefore, on the basis of such price trends, people, that is both buyers and sellers, they develop expectations regarding the price level in future. These expectations in turn may influence the decision of demand and supply. जो expectations है वो क्या कर रहे हैं, वो demand and supply के decisions को influence कर रहे हैं. I'm expecting that this good will be sold out in the market in future, तो फिर क्या होगा कि as a producer I will produce more of this good. If my expectations are such that I do not expect that that consumers will not purchase this particular product, then what happens is that I will supply that good in lesser quantities in the market in future. So therefore इसको कहते हैं expectations by the suppliers and expectations by the person who buys the good, that is the buyers. So what happens is that over here we have taken time period as a continuous variable in all the in the mathematics over here. So therefore, in continuous time, price trend information is primarily found in two type of derivatives. When time period is taken as continuous, okay, the price trend, now we want to find the price trend, okay, price trend information is found in two derivatives. Now the first one is dp over dt. Now here we are studying dp, that is change in price due to change in the time period. Now what will it tell? It will tell us that whether the price is rising. Okay, dp by dt will tell us whether the price is rising. And then what happens is that the next one that we have over here is, okay, the next one will be d square p upon dt square. That is, we will take the higher order derivative d square p upon dt square. This is also a second order differential equation. And what will d square p upon dt square tell? Whether the price is increasing at an increasing rate or not. कि जो प्राइस है वो अगर इंक्रीज हो रही है तो वो इंक्रीजिंग रेट पे इंक्रीज हो रही है या नहीं, ठीक है, whether the price is increasing at an increasing rate or not. Clear? So let me repeat these two statements once again. What happens is that in the continuous time, that is time period t, what happens is that the price trend information is primarily found in two derivatives. The first one is the first order derivative, that is dp upon dt. It will tell us whether the price is increasing or not. And then comes the second derivative, d square p upon dt square. It will tell us that if the price is increasing, then whether it is increasing at an increasing rate or not. Therefore, हम क्या करेंगे इस phenomena को study करने के लिए, we will come back towards our initial demand and supply functions. We know that QD is the function of prices, ठीक है, and those prices vary with the time period. Therefore, QD is equal to P of T, and in the same way we know that the supplier is making his expectations to sell his good, whether in more quantity or lesser quantity. It also depends upon the prices in different time periods. So therefore QD is PT and QS is equal to S of P. Now what does these two equations mean? We consider these derivatives as additional variables in demand and supply functions. Now what is QD? We will expand this function. Okay, अब हमने क्या करना है, हमने इस function को expand करना है on the basis of these two derivatives जो हमने अभी अभी study की. That is, ये जो function है QD, it will now become equal to QD is equal to D. Now अब आप लोग यहाँ पे गौर से देखो, ठीक है ना. Demand function जो है, it is the quantity demanded function जो है, it is the function of PT, that is prices at time period T. Okay, then it is also the function of first derivative, that is dP upon dt, which will tell us whether the price is increasing or not. ठीक है. Then comes the second, it is also the function of second order derivative, that is P double prime of t, which will tell us that if the price is increasing, then whether it is increasing at an increasing rate or not. Therefore QD is equal to D, that is, it is the function. D is basically used for the function, it is demand function, therefore D is used over here. It is the function of the current time price, ठीक है ना, and also it is the function of the first derivative, या the rate of change in the price due to time period, ठीक है, जो कि हमें ये बताएगा कि price increase हुई या नहीं हुई. And it is also the function of the second derivative. Why? Because ये बता रहे कि अगर price increase हुई है, whether that price has increased at an increasing rate or not. Now the same goes for the supplier, that is, जो हमारे पास supply function होगा, QS is the function of, because it is a supply function, तो हम इस function को denote कर रहे हैं S के साथ. For the supplier also, the supply of the goods depend upon the current prices as well as the first order derivatives, that is supplier is also seeing that whether the prices have increased or not, और उसकी वजह से उसकी गुड की जो डिमांड है उसका कितना इम्पैक्ट होगा, वो फिर डिमांड फंक्शन बताएगा. एंड अगेन then it supply function also depends upon the second order derivative, जो कि ये बता रहे हैं कि अगर prices increase हुई है तो whether they have increased by an increasing rate or not. These are the two important functions that we will study over here. So now let's move ahead. इसको ओपन करते हैं और मैथमेटिकल फॉर्म में इसको ले आते हैं, ठीक है ना. फंक्शन से इसको मैथमेटिकल फॉर्म में कन्वर्ट कर देते हैं. नाउ क्यू डी इज इक्वल टू J1. ओके, इट इज सम कांस्टेंट बिकॉज इसके साथ कोई वेरिएबल नहीं है, प्लस अब हमारे पास क्या आ जाएगा, K1P, दैट इज, ये हमें ये बताएगा कि इस फंक्शन का जो कोफिशिएंट है वो ये बताए कि अगर प्राइस में चेंज आ जाता है उसकी वजह से डिमांड में कितना चेंज आएगा, वो हमें K बताएगा. क्लियर. देन कम्स द M1P प्राइम. What is M1P prime stating? It is stating that अगर prices increase हुई तो उसकी वजह से डिमांड पे क्या असर होगा, that कितना जो है उसका इम्पैक्ट होगा, वो हमें कोफिशिएंट M1 बताएगा. And next we have N1P1 double prime. दैट इज़ अगर प्राइसेस इंक्रीज हो रही है और अगर वो इंक्रीजिंग रेट के साथ इंक्रीज हो रही है तो उसका कितना इम्पैक्ट है वो हमें ये कोफिशिएंट बताएगा, दैट इज़ n1. ओके, नाउ देयर आर फ्यू assumptions, दैट इज़ j1 जो है इट शुड बी ग्रेटर देन 0. ओके, एंड डिमांड फंक्शन हम लोगों ने डिटेल से स्टडी किया हुआ है. वी ऑलवेज नो दैट k1 शुड बी लेस देन 0, दैट इज बिकॉज ऑफ इंक्रीज इन द प्राइसेस. ठीक है, द डिमांड फॉर द गुड डिक्रीजेस, देयरफॉर द वैल्यू ऑफ k1 शुड बी लेस देन 0, and this coefficient is always positive in the demand, sorry, this constant value is always positive in the demand function j1. Why is K1 negative? I am repeating it once again. It is negative because we know that when the price of a good increases, the demand for the good decreases. ठीक है ना? And when the price decreases, the demand increases. Therefore, K1 is less than 0. Now let's mathematically write the supply function, that is Qs is equal to J2. Again, we have a constant over here, that is J2 plus K2P. If the price has increased or decreased, what will it have an impact on the supply function? ठीक है ना, supply of the good, that will be defined by K2 plus if the prices have increased. Okay, let me just give me 1 minute. Let me write it once again. Okay, here we will have K2P, then we will have plus M2P prime. Okay, now if the prices have increased, okay, then what will it have an impact on the supply of the good by the seller? It will be defined by M2, and then in the end, if the prices have increased and they are increasing and at an increasing rate, what will it have an impact on the supply of the good? Then it will be explained by N2. तो coefficients को हमने supply demand functions के coefficient को K1, K2, M1, M2, N1, N2 बनाया है किन के लिए? फॉर दी प्राइसेस व्हेन दे आर नॉट डिराइव्ड. ठीक है ना, विद रिस्पेक्ट टू टाइम पीरियड. उसके बाद फर्स्ट ऑर्डर डेरिवेटिव एंड सेकंड ऑर्डर डेरिवेटिव के साथ रिस्पेक्टिवली हमने इसको इस तरह से डिफाइन किया. अब सप्लाई फंक्शन अगर आप लोगों को याद हो, हमें पता है कि सप्लाई फंक्शन में क्या होता है कि ये जो कांस्टेंट है इसकी वैल्यू होती है लेस देन 0. ओके, J2 is less than 0 and this K2 is greater than 0. Why is K2 greater than 0? When the current prices of a good increases, the supply also increases. There is a positive relationship between both variables. When the current prices decreases, the quantity supplied also decreases. Therefore, K2 जो है यहाँ पे क्या होगा? It will be greater than 0 or it is some positive number. Okay, now J1 and K1. Okay, wait. ये जो J1 and K1 है, they are parameters from the previous market models. M1 and N1 जो है, they are parameters from new market models. That is, ये हम पहले पढ़ चुके हैं. ठीक है ना, जितने मार्केट मॉडल्स ये वहाँ से लिए गए हैं, J1 and K1. Okay, and M1 and N1 they are taken for the new market models. Similarly हमारे पास J2 K2 का केस भी है और M2 M2 का केस भी है. Now there are no restrictions on these parameters. M1 M2 सॉरी M1 N1 M2 N2 पे कोई रिस्ट्रिक्शंस नहीं है. यानी कि हम ये नहीं कहेंगे कि M1 लाजमी लेस देन 0 है या M2 लाजमी लेस देन 0 है, ग्रेटर देन 0 है. क्लियर, देयर आर नो रिस्ट्रिक्शंस. इट डिपेंड्स अपॉन द वैल्यू ऑफ द डेरिवेटिव. अब अगर इन पे रिस्ट्रिक्शंस नहीं है तो इनकी कुछ कंडीशंस है. If the value of M1 is greater than 0, okay, if the value of M1 is greater than 0, then what is it stating? It is stating that the increase in the price, okay, will cause the quantity demand to increase as well. Now in this case we can see that although हम simple law of demand में क्या study करते हैं, price increase हो जाएगी तो quantity demand decrease हो जाएगी. But over here जब हमने first order derivative का coefficient लिया M1, उसके behavior को जब हम study कर रहे हैं, if M1 is greater than 0, It is stating that increase in price will increase the quantity demand. Why? अब आप लोग गौर से इसको सुनो. It means that the buyers expect rising prices to continue, okay, and therefore they prefer to increase the purchase now, considering that the price is still low. यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है कि बायर्स जो है वो एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं कि प्राइसेस फर्दर इंक्रीज होंगी, तो उनके ख्याल में अब ये वाली जो प्राइस है दिस इज़ रिलेटिवली स्मॉलर एज कंपेयर टू द फ्यूचर prices. I hope this one is pretty much clear to you people. Now, the next one is if M2 is less than 0. Now, because there is no restriction on M1 or M2, I'm sorry, not M2, if M1 is less than 0. हम demand के references को study कर रहे हैं. Then what is it stating? It is stating that increase in the prices will cause the demand to decrease, okay? Increase in prices will cause the quantity demand to decrease. Now what does this mean? This means that the buyers will cut the purchase now and wait for the lower prices to increase the purchase in future. अब समझ में आ रहा है एक्सपेक्टेशंस यहाँ पे कैसे आ गई. इफ M1 इज ग्रेटर देन 0, कंज्यूमर क्या कर रहा है, बायर क्या कर रहा है, ही इज एक्सपेक्टिंग और ही हैज स्टार्टेड टू मेक हिज एक्सपेक्टेशंस के फ्यूचर में प्राइसेस विल इंक्रीज फर्दर. Therefore, what will he do? He will increase the demand of that particular good. But if the value of M1 is less than 0, then what is happening over here is that the prices of the goods जब increase हुई तो consumer will wait. He will wait, he will cut the purchase of the good now, and he will wait for the lower prices in the future in order to increase his purchase of the good. Clear? So this is the interpretation of M1, and for both, this is the interpretation of M1 for the first order derivative जो कि हमने demand function में लिया है. Okay, now introduction of N makes the buyer's behavior depend on the rate of change of dP upon dt. That is, what will N1 explain to us? N1 will tell us that in this case, where we are studying, it is telling us, suppose if the value of N1 is telling us if the price of the good is increasing, and if it is increasing at an increasing rate, then what will happen is that the purchase of that good will increase now at a larger rate. Why? Because price जो है वो increasing rate के साथ increase हो रही है. If the price of a good is not increasing at an increasing rate, then although the purchase will increase, but not as much as it was increased as a result of when it was increasing at an increasing rate. Clear? And when the price is not increasing at an increasing rate, तो demand जो है वो इतना increase नहीं होगा. That is, consumer का behavior जो है वो यहाँ पे change हो जाएगा. I will pause the recording over here. If you have any questions, you can ask. Okay, we will study the interaction of inflation and unemployment through Phillips curve. What does the statement mean, the interaction of inflation and unemployment? Interaction between inflation, unemployment, and monetary policy is based on the expectations augmented in the Phillips curve. यहाँ पे again what term is used? The expectations that are augmented in the Phillips curve is used to study the interaction of inflation and unemployment. We will use the model, okay, which has continuous time period using differential equations. Again, we have continuous time period, and then again we have differential equations. We will study it through different concepts. सबसे पहले हम क्या करेंगे? We will take the adapted relation model. Claire, 8 minutes. Let me delete this one. Okay. Now the first one is adapted relation. We will study the Phillips curve through adapted relation. That is, we have to adapt to the conditions Okay, let me write it. I'm trying to make it understandable to you in the best possible resources that I have. Okay, so therefore करना क्या है कि आई होप कि मेरी राइटिंग आप लोगों को बेहतर लगे. ओके, नाउ एडेप्टेड रिलेशन क्या बताता है हमें? अकॉर्डिंग टू फिलिप्स देयर एग्जिस्ट एन इनवर्स रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन द रेट ऑफ ग्रोथ ऑफ मनी वेज. ओके, अब नाउ ये गौर से सुनो. According to Phillips, there exists an inverse relationship between the rate of money wage and the rate of unemployment. That is, मनी वेज, रेट ऑफ मनी वेज का मतलब क्या है कि मनी वेजेस में जब इंक्रीज होता जाएगा तो उसकी वजह से अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट जो है उस पर नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट होगा. अगर मनी वेज इंक्रीज होगा तो अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट डिक्रीज होगा, मनी वेज डिक्रीज होगा तो अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट इंक्रीज होगा. क्लियर? Therefore, let me repeat this statement again. According to Phillips, there exists an inverse relation between the rate of growth of money wage. It is not only money wage, rather it is the rate of growth of money wage and the rate of unemployment. W represents the rate of growth of money wage and U represents the rate of unemployment. Again, this is also rate of unemployment. Time के साथ साथ दोनों में change आ रहा है और दोनों में negative relationship है. Now, if you want to write down the function, okay, then we have W is equal to F of U. Now, this is termed as equation number 1. Clear? Now, restriction हमारे पास क्या है? We have a restriction over here, that is F prime of U should be less than 0. The first derivative of this function should be less than 0. Okay? रेट ऑफ ग्रोथ ऑफ मनी वेज, दिस डब्ल्यू, इसको हम क्या करेंगे? इसको मैथमेटिकली अब एक्सपैंड करेंगे. रेट ऑफ ग्रोथ ऑफ मनी वेज इज इक्वल टू डब्ल्यू नॉट डिवाइडेड बाय डब्ल्यू, the money wage at some particular time period divided by the money wage at this current time period. Okay, now linear form of f of u is, अब इस जो f of u का function है, we have to write it in its linear form. इसको हम जब लीनियर फॉर्म में लिखेंगे तो इट इज़ नाउ इक्वल टू अल्फा माइनस बीटा म्यू. Okay, now the linear form of the rate of growth of money wage function is now equal to alpha minus beta mu. Why is it equal to alpha minus beta mu? Because we know that this function f of mu is equal to alpha minus beta mu. And again, there is one important restriction, that is alpha is greater than 0 and beta is also greater than 0. Okay, now increase in the wages lead to cost push inflation. We know very well what happens is that when the wages of the workers increases, what does the producer do? He starts to increase the prices of the goods, and then the consumers have to purchase those goods at higher prices. Why is it known as cost push inflation? Because the workers' wages are a part of the cost of production of any firm. So when the wages of the workers increases, the cost of production increases. When the cost of production increases, how the producer compensates his increase in the cost is that he increases the prices of the goods. Therefore, this is known as cost push inflation. Therefore, increase in the wages lead to cost push inflation. Now the inflationary pressure of W, now this has caused an inflationary pressure, okay? The inflationary pressure of W can be offset by increase in the labor productivity, which is shown to be exogenous and is shown by capital T. अब क्या है कि इस जो इन्फ्लेशनरी प्रेशर, जो कि हमने कॉस्ट पुश इन्फ्लेशन का यहाँ पे एक टर्म यूज़ किया, उस इन्फ्लेशनरी प्रेशर को ऑफसेट करने के लिए या ख़त्म करने के लिए व्हाट विल द प्रोड्यूसर डू? He will want to have his labor to be more productive now. That is, the labor should produce more of the goods and services at the increased wages. Now, this is an exogenous variable. An exogenous variable T will denote this increase in the labor productivity. Okay. increase in the labor productivity will offset the effect of increase in the wages, and this is an exogenous variable. Now as long as W is greater than T, okay, we have 10 minutes left, ठीक है, as long as W is greater than T, inflation will build up. जब तक increase in wages जो है वो labor productivity से greater होगा, what will happen is that there will be inflation. Rate of growth of price level is shown by P is equal to P naught over P, okay, P naught over P, this is rate of growth of price level. Okay, what we have to do over here is that this P should be small p, okay, P is equal to P naught upon P, that is, this is the rate of growth of prices at some current time period to prices at this time period. This will be shown by the rate of growth of price level. Therefore, inflation comes into being because of the excess of increase in the money wages. जितना मनी वेजेस इंक्रीज होते जाएंगे, इन्फ्लेशन उतना ज़्यादा इकोनॉमी में आता जाएगा, एंड व्हाट विल हैपन इज़ दैट लेबर प्रोडक्टिविटी जितनी भी इंक्रीज होगी, अगर वेजेस, रेट ऑफ ग्रोथ ऑफ वेजेस ज़्यादा इंक्रीज हो रहा है तो उसकी वजह से क्या होगा कि इन्फ्लेशन विल परसिस्ट इन द इकोनॉमी. देन देयरफॉर दिस स्मॉल p, now I'm writing this small p, okay, this small p is equal to small w. What is small w? It is the rate of growth of wages which was equal to w, capital W naught upon w, ठीक है, और इसको हमने क्या करना है, t से माइनस, t को इससे माइनस करना है. Now what is the rate of growth of prices is equal to rate of growth of wages minus the labor productivity. Now let this be equation number 3, okay. Now this is equation number 3. Let's move to our previous equation. Let this be equation number 2. And we knew it that this one was equation number 1. W is equal to f of mu. What will we do is that put the value of W in equation number 3. What is the value of W? The value of W is alpha minus beta W, okay. So therefore come back here. Now this P is equal to, small p is equal to alpha minus beta mu, okay, minus t. Now by opening the brackets we will get P is equal to alpha minus beta mu minus t, okay. The rate of growth of prices जो कि inflationary pressure को show कर रहा है, उसको हम इस function से denote करेंगे. And now let this be equation number 4. Okay, let's move ahead. Now expectations augmented relationship, इसको हम अब दोबारा क्या करेंगे, we will move towards the, अब adapted relation से हम आ जाएंगे expectations augmented relationship की तरफ, okay, that is okay, wait, now this is expectations okay, expectations augmented relationship, okay. यानी कि हमने क्या करना है, तमाम एक्सपेक्टेशंस को ऑगमेंट करना है किस चीज़ में, इनटू द फिलिप्स कर्व. Expectations augmented relationship, okay, relationship, let's not write it completely. Now if inflationary trend continues for long, this inflationary trend continues for long, ठीक है ना, then inflationary expectations develop among the economic agents, and because of this they incorporate such expectations in their money wage demands, ठीक है, फिर क्या करेंगे, अपनी wages का increase जो है उसको demand करेंगे. As a result, this state of affairs gives us the expectations augmented version of the Phillips curve. Therefore, now what will we have is, we will have W is equal to f of u, that is function of the, जो हमने wages का function पढ़ा था, plus h of pi, क्लियर। इसमें हमने क्या कर दिया, एक्सपेक्टेशंस ऑगमेंट भी कर दिए हैं थ्रू दिस फंक्शन, where pi represents the expected rate of inflation। ये लोगों की expectations है, ठीक है ना, this is the expected rate of inflation and the value of h जो है it lies between 0 and 1। The value of h lies between 0 and 1। Now pi and w जो है, this pi is also positive and this w is also positive। clear। therefore अब हम क्या करेंगे, हम फर्दर जब इसको दोबारा से लिखेंगे हमारे पास क्या हो जाएगा कि w is equal to f of u plus h of pi। okay, we know this and we also know that w is equal to alpha minus beta mu plus t। ओके, सॉरी माइनस टी यहाँ पे आ जाएगा। ओके वेट, here we will have minus t। ओके ठीक है, and plus h pi। what will we do is that we will shift this t to the left hand side of the equation। therefore we will have w plus t is equal to alpha minus beta mu। बाकी equation जो है it will remain the same, plus h pi। ओके, थोड़ा सा अनटाइडी हो गया because we have only 2 minutes left। now w plus t हमारे पास क्या हो जाएगा, there is one error in this equation, that is वो error क्या है हमारे पास, सबसे पहले we had to write w is equal to p plus t। okay, this is that small p plus t। now the value of p was equal to different, the value of p was equal to alpha। okay, let me just rub this one, okay, and rub this one as well। w is equal to p plus t। ठीक है, एक मिनट यार, ओके। तो व्हाट हैपेंस इज दैट w इज इक्वल टू p प्लस t, तो हम लेफ्ट हैंड साइड पे p प्लस t लिखेंगे। दिस वाज द वन पॉइंट व्हिच आई मिस्ड आउट ओवर हियर। और राइट हैंड साइड पे हम क्या करेंगे, f म्यू प्लस h पाई, ये वाला फंक्शन लिखेंगे। ठीक है, w की जगह p प्लस t आ जाएगा, f म्यू प्लस h पाई की जगह हमारे पास क्या आ जाएगा, अल्फा माइनस बीटा म्यू, ओके, plus h pi। now what will be our next step, our next step is p is equal to alpha minus t, okay, minus beta mu plus h pi। okay, now if this p, that is the actual rate of inflation, if this p is greater than the expected rate of inflation, that is pi, then it will cause an increase in pi, that is then the expectations will increase। therefore the rate of change in pi is directly proportional to p minus pi। this topic has been completed over here and our time is also finishing of this Zoom class, therefore let me stop this recording।